welcome to a pre-recorded Stop, Drop, and Move. Unfortunately, we can't always do these in person or do them live because we are a small team. So today we have a pre-recorded version. We're going to do an upper body movement break and some breathing exercises as a complement. I hope these help you feel more comfortable throughout your workday. So starting off with a breathing exercise, we are going to experiment with different positions as we breathe. So starting off, I'm going to round out, breathe normally until we get into position. I am going to round my spine. I'm tucking my pelvis under, I'm rounding through my upper back, and I'm even going to tuck my chin and roll my shoulders inward here. Now, as I'm just breathing normally, this doesn't really feel bad. It kind of feels awesome, to be totally honest. I'm a master sloucher and I love slouching, not in an intellectual, it's good for my body way, but just I tend towards it. If I try and breathe in, feels a little bit shallow when I really think about it. When I try and breathe out as completely as possible, that feels fine. So take a moment to do a few breaths here and think about how this position is hitting your body. Just trying to breathe in as deep as possible and exhale out as completely as possible. And just see how it feels. Might be the same for you as it is for me, or it might be totally different. Nice. Whenever you're done with this position, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to extend. So for some people, doing this standing is totally fine. I can arch throughout my spine. I can reach behind me. I can look up at the ceiling. For other people, that position doesn't feel good. If that's you, you can modify this position by just putting your hands on your knees and arching your back this way, drawing the back of your head back a little bit, trying to also open up through your chest. So instead of being like this, I'm trying to expand my shoulders, bring them behind me, bring them out to the side, give my chest plenty of room to breathe here. And then I'm going to be in this extended position. Just trying to inhale as deeply as possible and exhale as completely as possible without changing the position. Now, this position doesn't come as naturally to me as my slouch does. I'm going to try it standing too, reaching behind me a little bit. What I'm noticing for my body is when I'm standing, I can breathe in okay, and I can breathe out okay, maybe not quite as completely exhaling as when I was rounded. And when I'm in this position, actually a little bit harder, I think, for me to breathe in and out. Not super comfortable when I'm at the end of my range of motion. Standing, I'm not as far into the end of my range of motion just to protect my body. So take a moment and just take stock of how you feel in these positions as you're breathing in and out. And then we're going to go for a neutral position here. So by neutral position, I know that can sometimes be like, where's the neutral and all this gray area in between? I'm trying to make sure my pelvis isn't too far tipped forward, too far tipped back, something that just feels comfortable and natural and feels good. I'm aiming for a tall spine here. So like somebody has one of my hairs, they're pulling me up like a marionette. And then relaxed shoulders, kind of aiming for symmetry. So I'm not too wonky side to side, front to back. I'm just long and tall. And I'm going to try and breathe here. Breathing in, a nice deep breath. Breathing out, see how completely I can exhale. And then taking that data. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is if I tend towards the like T-Rex typing, hyper focus on my screen or the task right in front of me. I even do this while I'm cooking, to be totally honest. Um, that's not the best for taking really deep breaths in. And some people tend towards arching through their spine a whole lot. Maybe it's hard for them to exhale. Maybe a little bit of movement or relief or coming back to neutral would be nice. So take stock of where you're most comfortable and take stock of what positions you tend to drift into during the day. Sometimes a counter stretch, a stretch into the opposite position is nice. So if I'm T-Rexing and slouching all day, taking a little counter break where I stretch, do my big old morning stretch can feel really awesome on my body. And maybe you're in the same boat. We're going to do another little breathing exercise where I am adding some big movements to it. So as my hands go up and back, I'm inhaling. As my hands go down and forward, I'm exhaling. And we'll just keep it to that to start off with. So exhale, inhale, inhale, exhale. Go around the clock a few times, just trying to coordinate your breath with your arms. You might have to move your arms faster than I am right now. That's totally fine. Whenever you're comfortable with this and you feel like you've got a good coordination going, think about including your spine. So I'm rounding as I'm going forward, and then I'm lengthening, and then maybe just extending a little bit, and then rounding. And think about what your shoulders are doing. So are your shoulders coming forward as you're reaching forward? They're coming up as you're reaching up, and down and back as you reach down. Beautiful. Let's just switch the direction of the circle for fun here. Still aiming for the biggest circles that we possibly can. So some of you, I'm sure your arms can reach back behind you farther than I am. Don't let me be the goal if you should be the goal. Beautiful. One last circle here. Inhaling, inhaling, and exhaling, exhaling. Beautiful. Do a little quick shakeout, relaxation here. Sometimes that jiggle can actually be relaxing on a nervous system level. Like it tells your body, let go. Nothing you need to hold on for. Um, Now we're going to do a little bit of lateral bending. So I'm going to move my feet a little bit wider apart here so I have a great base to work for balance. If you also want to hold on to something, that could be totally fine too. Sometimes I'll even have one hand on a wall, reach over, attempt to touch the other wall, and come back. There's no law that you have to make it to the other wall. That's just a stability wall. And then sometimes I'll just use a counter so that I know that I'm as stable as I possibly can be here. It's also a nice frame of reference. As we reach up and over, we don't want to tip forward through the top shoulder, which is the tendency for most people. We want to go laterally to the side. And you may find that you're not able to go that far with your lateral bend before you start to have that tendency to tip over with the top shoulder, and that is totally fine. I am getting a slight bend here. Hopefully you can see. If I would like more of a bend, and you're welcome to work in and out of that, you don't have to just camp in this position. If I would like more of a bend, I can kick out my left hip. My left arm is coming up. Kick out my left hip and reach over. And you might find that you want a little more support when you are doing this position, but you could play with where the bend is anytime, right? You can say, oh, okay, can I feel my spine moving? Can I feel it in this hip flexor? Can I feel it in my ribs here? If it is a position that you get tired in, you're in great company. Definitely work in and out of the position rather than just feeling like you have to live here. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Working in and out a couple of times. And if you would like to, you can of course coordinate this with your breath. So you're inhaling and exhaling. And if you would like to hang out in this bend for a moment, just to experience it through a few cycles of breath, you could think about expanding your ribs as you breathe in. If you move the hip over on the other side, feel free to go ahead and do that with this one. Make sure you aren't arching through your lower back. You're keeping your abs engaged to protect your spine. And we're playing with the bend. If I tip my head, how does that change things? Does it change things? Hey, it's not illegal to play as you're moving your body. In fact, that could be the definition of play. So now we've done a little bit of rounding and arching and side to side. We're going to do a little twist. Some of you, I'm sure, saw that coming. I'm going to start off twisting to the left. And as I twist, I really like to inhale, lengthen, and exhale twist. I feel like that keeps me upright better than anything else I've ever tried. So I'm going to inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist, just using my own muscles to support me and to help me keep twisting here. And every time I inhale, I'm going to lengthen. Every time I exhale, I'm going to try and twist a little bit further. We may get to the point where it's just 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter. That's totally fine. It could be zero movement. That's also okay. It just keeps me on track. So every time I'm inhaling, I'm reminding myself, stay upright. Don't twist over. And now that we've taken a few breaths here, I'm just going to put my hands on my hip bone and help myself into the stretch a little bit further, incorporating my neck a little more than I was remembering to before. And whenever you're done taking a final breath, you can come back to center. If that felt like a lot of twisting for you, maybe doing a little bit of a rocking, relaxing kind of emotion, whatever you need to help work out the kinks. And then we'll come back to it whenever you feel good again. So now I'm going to be twisting to the right. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. I always like to do at least 3 cycles, just using my own breath and not my own breath, my own muscles to help me into the position before I start using other muscles to help me into the position. Now I've done 3 cycles, I'm going to put my hand on my hip bone and just try and help myself a little bit more into that stretch. And come back to center whenever you're ready. Take your little shake out. One of the reasons why I like to end our stretches really slowly is it gives us time to take stock of what's going on with my body that day. And that can be really helpful for stretching safely. You know, some days I am bendier than others, and that is fine. That is a way that I maintain being respectful of my body. Beautiful. All right, so one more section of the upper body that I want to focus on is just taking care of neck and shoulders a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and drop my left ear over to my left shoulder as far as it wants to go today, and I'm going to reach away with my right hand. I'm going to take a few breaths here, trying to continually reach. And if I'm getting bored, I can rock my head back and forth a little bit. I can play with the angles by tipping my nose down or up while keeping my ear somewhat close to that shoulder. Beautiful. Rocking the head forward and over to the other side, going back and forth a few times. Just noticing where you feel these stretches. For me, they're like radiating up past my ear for some reason today. Probably just a sign that I need that stretch. But if for you, it's feeling like the bad stretch, back off. I'm gonna lean my right ear over to my right shoulder now. Gonna reach away with my left hand. And I'm gonna just try and relax into the stretch. Now, if your neck is a tight spot for you or a delicate part of your body, certainly relax into the stretch with a little bit more movement, working in and out of it. Don't go to the full expression. Hold back a little bit as you're stretching. Don't reach away as intensely. Just take some of the pressure off of the stretch. Beautiful. And if you are feeling good and you do want to play with it, go ahead and rock your head back and forth. Play with the angles by tipping down and up. And that's it. Shake out, do whatever you need to do for your body to feel great. And you've gotten through another stretch break. I hope you have an awesome afternoon. Take care, everybody.